You don't need an invitation. I already know what you're saying. I love a little conversations, and I don't want you to go changing. Cause girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. I hope that you just feel it all too. Cause girl, you're comfortable and let's go. Feels so good just when I roll through. And I just think it's so crazy what you do to me. Girl, you're the baddest thing, you know that. And I really need you to show it. So turn around, let me get you on the cold.
Welcome one and all to another amazing night here in Tranquility.
We absolutely are in for a treat of a match here tonight, no question about it.
And the grenades from Pompu, eliminate everybody on the field.
Now between something as well is going to be applied as a death plus 1 minute. It's going to be huge. Dividing 3.
The double kill with the Bastion ulti? Alright, I see you guys.
For B-Well, look to find a stick there, finds the stick, they find two with it!
Those who find the picks will save the fight, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
And Cam with the 4-man punch off the map!
Experience tranquility.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tranquility Knockout Round 2. Tonight, we have the number 21 seeded Royal Throne, who are sitting at 4-5 through the regular season, taking on number 13 Adrenaline. With me tonight, we have Wistfall. How are you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. Very excited to be casting again. It's been a while, especially within the Tranquility scene, but no better time to come back than during playoffs. I mean, this is where all the action happens. This is where it really gets down to the wire. Where we start to see all the big plays, the crazy comps, and I'm sure this match will be no different in that regard.
Yeah, and especially, too, you were sort of thrown at the last second. We had to make a quick little substitution. Unfortunately, Juggle God couldn't make it tonight, so we had to have you thrown in, which I don't know if that's a blessing in disguise, especially with you saying you haven't casted in a while, but who knows? Might as well have a little bit of scuffness. You always got to have a little bit of scuffness, especially with NA Overwatch, not even just Valorant.
Overwatch in general, really, with the state of Owl especially, but, you know.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We make it work.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
casted on shorter notice before. Either way, I mean, it's not really me that the viewers are tuning in for. It's the matches. It's the gameplay that matters. And yeah, these two teams, I don't know much about Harmony, but I can say I do expect to see some good Overwatch. I do recognize a few names, most notably Banana Shake and Ataki, who I believe, and Baka, Biscuit. Okay, Biscuit as well. That's 14. That's 4 names I recognize.
4 out of the 5 for Royal, you recognize.
Yes. Baka and Biscuit, I only know their names. They're playing in another league, which I'm also playing in. Banana Shake is my teammate on that league. Ataki's also playing in said league. I don't know how they stack up relative to Adrenaline, but I guess we're gonna find out soon enough. Going into Antarctic Peninsula, our first map.
Yeah, and like you said, going into Antarctic Peninsula, which both these teams played last week in round 1. Adrenaline both these teams beat their opponents 3-1, and the last time these two teams faced was actually in week 7, and Adrenaline won 4-0. So we're hoping for hopefully a little bit different, but who knows what we're able to see here.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think a big factor in this match is going to be the recent mid-season patch, which has changed a lot. It's introduced a new meta. It's made Junker Queen basically just the best character in the game now, really. Yeah. And you can't really have an Overwatch tournament without a playoffs patch that just completely shakes up the meta, shakes up the standings. Even the power rankings, we've seen it in Owl, we're seeing it now in Tranquility, and I expect it's gonna make for some interesting gameplay.
Yeah, and honestly, looking at these two comps too, we do see a little bit of a change, I feel like, especially on Antarctic Peninsula, where you do see a lot of the sort of Ram Rhine stuff. We do see it for the side of Adrenaline, I believe that is, if my memorization is correct. Okay, yes, that is Adrenaline. And yeah, on the side of Royal Throne, they're just sort of pulling out a little bit of a dive with a Mercy, which could be no, that's Adrenaline that's playing. No, wait.
No, but Royal Throne's on the ball.
Adrenaline is blue. I am losing my mind today. It's been a very long day today.
Oh yeah, I agree. I took my last AP exam, but anyways, that's not what we're here for. It's the gameplay, and we're gonna see the wall coming out early from Master Shadow on this Mei, looking to split off this Wrecking Ball. It gets very low. The adaptive shield forced from Baka. Okay, Master Shadow does take out Biscuit, so it's now just the healing of Shenshin on the Ana for Royal Throne. Hits a nice sleep onto Zen Shapiro. Master Shadow takes them out too. Baka rolls off the map. I don't know what happened there, but it doesn't seem like it's going to matter much. Probably just looking to switch as Adrenaline are able to take this first point in relatively clean fashion.
Yeah, and we already see a switch coming out for the side of Royal Throne. Baka switching over to the Winston, which could be a little bit better, especially with the ball nerf that came through. it just makes him a little bit worse. But I think Winston, especially against the brawl like this from the side of Adrenaline, could be a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, they're swapping onto this Winston comp now. It could be a better matchup, but again, that Ramatra just able to once they get up and running with that Nemesis form, just able to do so much, and really you couldn't even. I mean, Baka got a pick on his Zen Shapiro, but beyond that, you don't even see really an opening them there.
Yeah, and apparently Royal Throne is just switching everything up, keeping with the Winston, but going to a double flyer comp with a Zen, which honestly I actually really like this comp, especially with how much damage Zen Discord does. Just being able to melt the Ramatra for the side of Adrenaline.
Oh yeah, I like this play. I do agree. This play style works a lot better for them, I think. But Ataki already getting dropped really low by Zen Superior, who swapped onto the Cassidy. A really smart swap from them, I think. Baka close to this primal range is going to have to create some chaos with a Master Shadow again coming up so huge, fight after fight. It seems taking out Ataki on the Pharah early on, and it just seems like it just seems like Adrenaline on this Ramatra comp. They're just completely unstoppable. Like there's been nothing to halt them taking these fights on their own terms. It feels like.
Yeah, and especially with Master Shadow just hitting shots left, right, and center. Fuelmaker does have the Annihilation, which is going to be massive, especially on the side of Royal Throne, as Atari already dies. But they don't have a defensive ult, and it's just going to be Fuelmaker's just going to pop it and just run at them completely.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the ults come out now from both sides. The Annihilation from Fuelmaker has already gotten 2. Banana Shake taking him out with the Pulse, putting it into the Reign of Terror. But somehow in all that, I didn't even notice that the point had crept up all that way to 100. And Royal Throne not even able to touch. Adrenaline's just walked all over them on that first point.
Yeah, Adrenaline just completely dominated them, and it just looked like very different styles. Just how well Adrenaline was able to play this Ramatra comp, just switching back from Zen Shapiro's going back to the Hanzo rather than the Cassidy. And Royal Throne is sticking true to this. Oh, nope, never mind. I'm getting baited again. They're switching over to the Junker Queen, like we said
There
before.
it
Got the big patch. So I'm going to be excited to watch this, especially with how broken it seems like she's
Okay,
being
Queen
accused of
is
being.
very good, yes. But my question is, what are they cooking with the Merciana? Because I really feel like you need the sustain of the Kiriko and the versatility and playstyles that the Lucio combined with the JQ provides, especially into this Ramatra comp, where it's got so much staying power, it's so hard to displace even into a Junker Queen.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Looks
rough.
like it's going to be an interesting one, as Ataki takes out JLV Frog already, so that, I mean, that's actually a markedly good improved start for Royal Throne. Ataki and Baka getting 2 as well. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess I was wrong. I mean, Baka's just taken over the fight there, being able to do so much with that Junker Queen.
yeah, Baka's taking over the fight. Not to mention also Banana Shake playing the Ashe, so that's probably why they're playing Biscuit on the Mercy, just for that damage boost.
True.
Damage boost onto the Ashe, very good to the damage, and then with the Genji just being able to clean up the fights with the dashes. All in all, it looks like a decent comp, but on paper it could be a little bit weird. But we're just gonna have to see how they keep on playing it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great start now for Royal Throne in the fight. Biscuit going down, Ataki getting a bit too ambitious, perhaps trying to cook too hard, and getting cooked by Mint on the Lucio. And yeah, once these fights break down, once the JQ comp starts to split off a bit, that's when the openings start to show. That's when the cracks start to show, rather, and the openings become more apparent for this Ramatra comp. So now with Adrenaline taking their first capture of this point, it's gonna be really interesting to see how this plays out from here.
Yeah, and especially too with the Junker Queen, you want to play much more sort of interchangeably. That's why when we had Jokes back in OWL Season 3, you had the Lucio, you had the Brig, people that are really clumped together. It's like with this, you sort of want to play a little bit pokey style and try to just play split.
Yeah, I mean, you do kind of have to, but I would argue the JQ going into the Ramatra comp kind of just collapses if you do play split, as we're kind of seeing now. Like, it's just so easy with that Nemesis form of the Ramatra, the speed of the Lucio, the Mei walls to isolate, to run onto a target and just blow them up, which somewhat ironically is what the JQ comp wants to do with the Carnage, with the knives to isolate, with the speed, or with the commanding shout to get onto said target, the Genji dash as well. But we're not really seeing that from Royal Throne.
No, we're seeing attacking him again. You just sort of catching him all by himself. It looks like with the Mercy pocket on the Biscuit, but just sort of getting poked out completely. them not really looking like they have an idea of what to completely do with the, even though they come out with the Rampage right here.
Yeah, the Rampage comes out, but Banana Shake already gone down. There it is again. The Annihilation from Fuelmaker just looking to put this fight on lock. Ataki does get one, pulling out the Dragon Blade. Gets two, but again, the Annihilation from Fuelmaker is still so strong, so oppressive. You really can't even contest the Ramattra in that position. And yeah, I mean, Fuelmaker and Zenchipir do an excellent job of cleaning up, and now Adrenaline, they're at 85%, they're 89% and counting.
Yeah, Baka switching over to the Doomfist, Ataki switching over to the Tracer. Banana Shake still has yet to build this Bob, which could be the turning fight here, especially on this last fight.
Yeah, Zenchipir already getting a pick with that, with a really good window from JLV Frog. A great overall play from them, I think. The beat from Sound Barrier, or from the Sound Barrier from Mint comes out. Banana Shake with the Bob, a bit of a desperation play, but it looks to be paying dividends as Banana Shake gets 2, Banana Shake gets 3. That's my teammate. That bat chest, if you will. Banana Shake gets 4 to offer a glimmer of hope for Royal Throne in this fight against seemingly all the odds.
Yeah, and it like I said before, it just sort of looked like a desperation Bob trying to keep it on the point, but luckily they were able to turn it around, get Fuelmaker, which was really the sort of catalyst of Adrenaline, just sort of being able to hold that front line and just try to be able to keep it. But now, of course, Adrenaline is on the push, don't have a single ult to either side, but who knows if they're able to try to fight this, especially with the Mayo ult and how good Master Shadow is playing.
Yeah, it's really all on the Taki here, I think, to get an early pick. The Doomfist swap from Baka, I didn't even notice, but that could make things a bit hard. Not if Ataki goes down. Okay, that's not the best start for Royal Throne. Now they're at such a disadvantage because it's just Baka diving in alone. Baka and Banana Shake combining very well, though, to get that pick on JLV Frog. That's a lot of the healing off the field for Adrenaline. Shenshin's Immortality field goes down, and Adrenaline able to establish themselves firmly on this point. Master Shadow getting in a spot above it, but he's able to get out. Baka with his charge punch needs to get a lot of value. The Lucio of Mint is isolated and goes down really good from Baka there to find that pick. Baka again with a Meteor Strike gets another pick. Banana Shake gets 2. And again, it seems like even with these disadvantages, even with in theory, the compositional disadvantages, Royal Throne pulled out another fight.
Yeah, but what I do got to say about that, Royal Throne did have to use 2 ultimates there to keep alive, whereas with the side of Adrenaline, they didn't have to use a single thing, and they're all sort of close, but Mint did die immediately.
Yeah, that is not a great player to lose, especially because it loses you that speed, that sound barrier, or that speed boost, and really all hope of touching in that case, or in that scenario. As Royal Throne, pretty impressive comeback from them. They managed to lock up the point, taking it to 1-1, taking us to, I believe this is sub-level on our final match.
Yeah, this is sub-level. I wonder if they're going to try to keep the Doomfist, especially with how well Baka was playing with it. Just sort of being able to sort of disrupt the Ramattra comp on the side of Adrenaline. Whereas Adrenaline is just staying true, staying with the Ramattra comp, something that's been working pretty well for them so far, even though they did lose this last round. But I think you could sort of take it on like, hey, Banana Shake got a 4K with the Bob. We can't really compete with that half the time.
Yeah, I mean, going into this next point, it plays a lot better for the Mei, for the Ramattra. As on this high ground, which you usually see teams dueling over, it's so easy to isolate a target with the Mei wall, just rush them down, which with the Ramattra works super well. But Baka on this Doom, Ataki on this Genji is going to make it a bit harder for them to lock down that target. We're going to see Adrenaline entrenching themselves on the high ground pretty firmly. Biscuit seeming to want to pocket Ataki on this Genji, which is a bit of an interesting move. It is getting surprisingly like a value, though, as Zenchipir goes down really early, and now the go button is pressed. Now Baka can dive, now Ataki can hard commit to the dive, and here we're seeing the Doom comp at its finest, where it's able to just isolate a target and pick them off. Somewhat similarly to the Junker Queen comp, just a bit more mobile. And on a map like this, where you want to be dueling over that high ground, but you also want to be playing for point control, that can actually work really well.
Yeah, I wonder too if, especially with the Junker Queen buffs that came through, I wonder if Royal Throne is sort of like, hey, let's try the Junker Queen with this comp instead of the Doomfist because of the buffs to it, but it just looks like they look so much more complete with the Doomfist rather than...
Yeah, I wonder if how much of that is maybe they just haven't trimmed that Junker Queen comp as much. We're seeing them we're seeing another fight break out in this mirror. JLV Frog close to the lamp, but they get taken out by excellent synergy from Ataki and Baka there. Zen Shapiro does take out Biscuit now, so both teams having lost a support. Now the fight's going to get real scrappy as JLV Frog coming back from spawn is going to have that amplification matrix up mid close to the beat as well. Shen goes down though, that's no healing on the side of Royal Throne, but none on the side of Adrenaline either, as Ataki has his Dragon Blade up, having taken out mid, gets Fuelmaker too, an absolute warlord on the Genji coming into their own here. And another fight where Baka and Ataki's dive synergy is getting massive value here, really.
Yeah, it honestly. What were you gonna say?
It seems like Adrenaline are just a bit blindsided by it, but
yeah, no, they really do, especially with how sort of grouped up you want to have. But now Taki with the blade gets deleted almost instantly by Master Shadow. Banana Shake falls as well, so this might be the turning point for Adrenaline. Only using Beat to try to keep alive Biscuit does rise Ataki, but it looks like it's almost Adrenaline's fight to lose.
Yeah, this is not a great position for Royal Throne, having invested that res. Mint did pop the sound barrier a bit prematurely. Ataki gets Zen Shapiro with the deflect, I guess, just deflected Zen Shapiro shots. That's big value out of that. Baka gets a kill with, okay, that's just an Overwatch moment right there. JLV Frog and Mint though getting picks of their own, making up for Baka somehow getting a kill with an ability that's not even used by, that's not even his own characters. Baka getting 2 more picks, taking out Fuelmaker and Master Shadow though. The Amplification Matrix out now from Shen. Zen Shapiro with the high noon does take out Banana Shake. This fight is still firmly in control. Okay, I was gonna say firmly in control of Royal Throne, or in Royal Throne's control, but Zen Shapiro and JLV Frog getting some huge picks to turn the fight. Fuelmaker coming back. And somehow, I mean, that's just a crazy clutch from Zen Shapiro, from Fuelmaker, from JLV Frog to keep that point in the hands of Adrenaline.
Yeah, and also, like you said, the point wasn't Adrenaline's hands, so it wasn't Royal Throne getting that percentage to try to get up to 99. It was Adrenaline getting that point, and already at 50%, even though it seemed like that fight took forever, it was Adrenaline's point, and now they have Freeze and the Nemesis formed for the side of Adrenaline.
Yeah, Ataki's so close to this Dragon Blade, gets blown up instantly by Zen Shapiro, stuck by the mini pulse bomb. Master Shadow as well, getting a pick but getting traded out. Baka takes out Mint again, so much value on this Doomfist to be had. Baka again taking out Zen Shapiro, so much value. I mean, as I just said, I'm sort of repeating myself now, but JLV Frog taking out Ataki puts this fight right back into the balance as he's very close to that lamp, or to that amplification matrix. Fuelmaker popped the Annihilation, I think. Master Shadow does have a Blizzard as well for this next fight, and the point percentage still in favor of Adrenaline, creeping up ever higher.
Yeah, it's hitting 80% too. You do have a few ultimates that are good for controlling that space. You do have the Amplification Matrix, you do have Zen Shapiro's High Noon, as well as Master Shadow's Freeze, which can basically win you this fight, especially with it being basically last fight territory.
Yeah, I mean, it really can. Now it's just all about keeping momentum, not letting anything slip for Adrenaline, but it looks like Mint has slipped and fallen over, and they can't get up as Ataki pulling out the Dragon Blade gets a crucial pick, and Banana Shake getting another. Ataki taking out Master Shadow. It's all in favor of Royal Throne, and the Throne holds strong another day, as it seems as though, unless Mint is able to pull some miracle out on the Lucio, Royal Throne will be taking this first map. Yep, no miracle forthcoming, and now it's on Zen Shapiro, but they can't even touch the point, and there it is. Royal Throne will take Antarctic Peninsula.
Yeah, which is honestly very impressive, especially after watching a 0.1 of Antarctic Peninsula, with how dominant Adrenaline was and how shaky Royal Throne looked. Ataki just kept on turning it up after 0.1, and just went off on this Genji, especially even on this point where I didn't feel like I feel like we could have gotten a better play Overwatch, but that's just my point.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's just my own thing with the Overwatch play of the match gameplay. But yeah, that was very dominant for the side of Royal Throne, especially with it going 99-99. They were able to hold strong, especially on a comp that doesn't seem very meta, but they were able to play it and played very well, especially with how strong they looked in the last 2 maps.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about Harmony tier, about these tiers that aren't like GM top 500 players, where you're not so beholden to the meta. You're not relying on a comp being just better than anything else. You can kind of play more to your comfort picks, more to a playstyle that your team likes, And if it works, it can work out really well, because not only are you leaning into that composition that suits you more, you can also sort of surprise another team that might have expected you to run the meta. And it seems like that's kind of what happened with Royal Throne on this Doomfist comp. It seemed like once Baka was able to get going, once Ataki was able to get going, and once they could get their synergy on their dives in line, Adrenaline just seemed a bit lost. And going into King's Row, a map that favors more brawl, it's gonna be really fun to see how this matchup plays out.
Yeah, and also too, before the matches, I reached out to both these teams, asked a few questions, and one of the things too that Royal Throne said was that their team specialized. I can't talk today. In aggressive plays with fast-paced fights where targets were prioritized and eliminated before the battles even started. That's straight from their manager. But that's what I gotta say. That's what happened, especially on the last 2 points. They were playing that aggressive dive with the Doomfist, with the Tracer, with the Genji, and just being able to basically eliminate Adrenaline before the fights even really started. And now heading into King's Row, especially with a map that's very brawl-centric and sort of like, oh, you play King's Row, it's Scrims Row for a reason. You're gonna play the Brawl, you're gonna play the Rhine, you're gonna play the Ramatra now, especially with him being more sort of like a stronger Rhine. But we're gonna see Royal Throne come back out on this Doomfist comp, on this more aggressive dive style. Whereas Adrenaline is sticking true to their guns. They like that Ramatra comp, it seems like. But yeah, heading into King's Row, and I'm excited to watch this, especially with how sort of a clash of different play styles, different sort of mindsets of how the game should be played. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. Especially seeing Shenshin on the on the Zenyatta, which is Zen Mercy is not a backline that you would expect to see simply because of how easy it is to play against.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you do have the Discord, yeah, you do have the spam from the Zen, but the Zen also kind of crumples, especially with the lack of heal that a Mercy provides relative to a Brig, an Ana, Baptiste. Especially on this map, the map with more tight spaces, fewer flank routes. So it's going to be interesting to see again how Banana Shake and Ataki can play into this more static, into this more brawly Ramatra comp. Doesn't seem like Ataki's having too good of a time though, as Fuelmaker takes them out early. Shenshin, sorry, getting a good pick onto Mint early on as well. Biscuit looking to position for a res here. Master Shadow taken out early by Baka as well. That's actually just a ridiculous pick from them. And yeah, now Baka with that charged punch is able to take so much space. Zen Shapiro and Filmmaker just crumple, and yeah, Baka's doing absolute wonders on this Doomfist. And yeah, Adrenaline just seems that's actually crazy punch from Baka. Punching there's so much power in it. The May block guy. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
It got moved, but yeah, Baka already using the Doomfist ultimate. But yeah, like you said, I feel like it's just at that point right now where it's the standard quote where everybody says that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Right now, Adrenaline got punched in the face, literally and figuratively. But they don't really. It seems like they're sort of struck me like, what do we do now? Now they're going to their quote unquote favorite comp. Like I said before, they asked it. They said Monkey Rush was their favorite. Going to the Monkey Rush with the Winston and the Reaper, as well as Zen Shapiro swapping to the Cassidy. Something that I feel like could be a very interesting sort of counter to the way that Royal Throne is playing with the Zen, with the sort of glass cannon backline that they have.
Yeah, I agree. It is still fundamentally a brawl comp, but this does offer more of that death ball playstyle, more viability in that death ball playstyle. We're seeing that already. Fuelmaker with an instant 2 picks onto Biscuit and Ataki. I don't even know where Ataki came from, but they'll be going back to the spawn room in short order. Shenshin goes down as well, and that's a really good swap from Adrenaline, evidently. However, Royal Throne, they have ultimates.
Yeah, they have ultimates. They have almost every single ultimate, whereas on the side of Adrenaline, they are close to they do have the beat, are close to Kitsune Rush, have the noon, and are close to another funky ult, which I can't remember off the top of my head right now, which could be very good, especially with Royal Throne just popping everything right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of Q buttons being pressed. Both support ults from the side of Adrenaline. Ataki's Dragon Blade gets nothing expertly countered. Shenshin on the verge of death, but Ataki comes to their rescue. JLV Frog taking out Baka, Zen Shapiro taking out Biscuit though. That's the backline nearly gone. And the DPS of Adrenaline bringing their team back from the void to clutch what seemed like a lost fight, honestly.
Yes, I think in that fight we saw seven ultimates pressed in one fight, which is insane. But now we do see Baka switching to the Diva, which is pretty standard amongst the Winston counter because of the missiles, but it does provide a lot of a different playstyle than the Doomfist, which Ataki already found immediately.
Yeah, Ataki, I mean, that's just Ataki taking over, really. The Primal Rage from Fuelmaker gets one pick, but it's more of a consolation than anything. Maybe a bit of stall to come through, but I really can't see much more coming of Fuelmaker's presence there. As yeah, Royal Throne. You kind of knew they were gonna cap that once Ataki started killing everything. Really.
Yeah, and also Master Shadow apparently used the Death Blossom, which I did not notice at all. So they don't have any ultimates on the side of Adrenaline, whereas Royal Throne, they're coming up on the Diva Bomb, on the Genji Blade, and also on the transfer for Gen, which could be a very good turning point as Fuelmaker just gets deleted completely.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the strength of this Diva comp. You're able to play more like a counter dive. You're able to contest more the Winston for those high grounds, for those aggressive positions, and we're seeing that pay its dividends. Baka gets a remake kill onto JLV Frog. Okay, Fuelmaker swapping onto the Junker Queen. There it is. There's my one trick. Mint as well getting picks, and yeah, Fuelmaker really clutch swap from them. Now with the JQ finally in play from Adrenaline, a team that does seem to favor this brawl comp, this brawl playstyle. Is Baka back onto the Doomfist? This is going to be really interesting to watch how these next few fights unfold, because they could determine how the rest of the map unfolds, and really the series, if depending on how things shake out for Adrenaline.
Yeah, and especially too, Royal Throne has 4 ultimates other than their Doomfist, whereas Rush immediately comes out from the side of Adrenaline, trying to find one. Shen falls immediately, but nothing else has really popped. 8 PP dies, and it just looks like it's Adrenaline just using the Rush. Okay, that's one fight done. Biscuit does pop the Valkyrie, gets PD's res, but it just looks like it's all blue. And
Biscuit took out Zen Shapiro.
Yeah,
Biscuit pulling out the Glock there. That's, yeah, you know what? If the vibes are there, the vibes are there. I will not question it. I mean, yeah, good pick from, nice little pick from Biscuit, but I can't see it doing much as Zen Shapiro on that Tracer is so mobile. And now Baka still on this Doomfist. The shout comes out from Fuelmaker. The sound barrier from Mint coming in to offer their team that sustain. But Ataki pulling the Dragon Blade does take out the Reaper of Master Shadow, which is so much damage gone for them. Zen Shapiro getting pick onto Biscuit. The Suzu comes out from JLV Frog, but it will not save them. As Banana Shake, Baka, Ataki all getting picks to turn this fight into the hands of Royal Throne and put them in a position of potentially full cap with over a minute left.
Yeah, as long as Master Shadow doesn't get a 5k with this Death Blossom, it looks like it's going to be all Royal Throne, but he gets
yeah, that's not happening. Ben's off the map.
Yep, he's off the map. Bye-bye. You fell. Good luck.
Rip Bozo. Fuelmaker getting a pick. Like, a Junker Queen is just ridiculous. How is this happening? Ataki's dashed off the map. That's just, okay.
There's no way that's actually
this fight now hangs very much in the balance. Banana Shake, though, coming up big, getting 2 picks, one with the Pulse Bomb. It's now just Min, JLV Frog. Mint's off the map. The Doomfist charge punches are doing wonders, or working wonders here, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough as the Kiriko of JLV Frog and the Junker Queen of Fuelmaker are holding the fort down with the clock creeping just below 50 seconds now.
Yeah, can I also say something? Banana Shake, when they pulsed and killed Master Shadow blossomed there. I think this is the second time that they're blocking
that's the second Ajax,
almost immediately. So yeah, it just looks like Fuelmaker coming out on the Junker Queen was able to get a pick, because then Shapiro trying to find a one clip on Suspension. Is able to get it after 2, but still does have the pulse bomb, trying to find somebody to land onto it as Biscuit gets the res. What doesn't? Oh, he does die immediately.
That whiff could, okay, I was gonna say that whiff could turn out to could haunt Zen Shapiro, but it doesn't seem like that'll be the case. as the front line and back line of Royal Throne just gets so split in that final fight, and now with 10 seconds left, it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to touch. It's not looking good for them. And yeah, it's just Royal Throne falls short at the final hour after some heroics from Fuelmaker and Zen Shapiro, really, is what I think you have to call that. Swapping onto the Junker Queen at the last moment, pulling out a crazy clutch, and Zen Shapiro just wreaking havoc in the backline of Royal Throne. Mint as well. I feel like we haven't been talking them up enough, because Mint's been a very, very solid player. They've been using the sound barrier at the perfect time, building it fairly quickly too. Overall, just a very consistent, solid presence in the backline of Adrenaline, and a big part of why I feel they've been able to clutch out some of these fights.
Yeah, and honestly too, especially on that last fight, you saw sort of the difference on what the Junker Queen buff has been, especially going up to 2% with the sort of healing back. I don't really know what it's called.
The lifesteal regen.
Lifesteal, yeah. So getting that sort of one kill, even though it looked like it was one kill, it was sort of the complete turning point. It was able to get that kill off, get that healing up, and just sort of stay alive that entire time. Whereas we do see a little bit of a comp swap for the side of Royal Throne, going to the Ramatra comp now rather than their standard sort of dive heavy centric. They're going to the Ramatra comp, whereas Adrenaline, you know what? Hey, what doesn't work doesn't kill.
Hey, they're cooking. They're cooking, I believe.
They're cooking with the Junker Queen.
This comp's interesting. Biscuit on the Mercy still over Lucio in a hard brawl comp is a really, really interesting choice from them. Especially into the Junker Queen of Fuelmaker, where I feel like you really need that speed to get in and out of engagements, to get in and out of tight spots. Bananachick using the wall early doesn't really get much with it. And now here we see the Junker Queen coming into their own, just being able to get into the backline, focus the target down, force out cooldowns, the immortality field already gone. Another wall from Bananachick forces out the ice block. Zen Shapiro is doing so much in this fight, just buying so much space, forcing so much out of Royal Throne. The Nemesis form comes out from Baka, forcing out the Suzu of JLB Frog, as the TP as well, but Zen Shapiro's gotten a pick. The res comes through, Baka and Zen Shapiro both go down. Ataki, though, falls, and the momentum now looks to be in the favor of Adrenaline, as they are able to seal up that point capture. And now, look at the ults from Adrenaline.
Yeah, Adrenaline has two ultimates, the Rampage and the Pulse Bomb, whereas on the side of Royal Throne, they're switching it up. They're going to the Zarya off of the Ramatra, going to sort of their standard Ashe Genji comp that they were playing before. The only thing that stayed the same was Biscuit on the Mercy. But going back to what you were saying before with Mint on the Lucio, you were sort of able to see it there. Fuelmaker just engaging very far, using that shift, and then using the commanding shout, and then using the speed from Mint, just being able to just go into their backline and just force out a lamp of a Nemesis form, the shift from May. It's just insane with what they were able to do.
Yeah, I mean, the Rampage here is dash is massive value, really. That gets Biscuits, that gets Senshin so low, but Fuelmaker will give their life for it. Ataki going huge, taking out 2 in this fight, offering a window of hope for Royal Throne, and it seems like that window has become a door that has been blown wide open by the dashes of Ataki. Getting 2 massive kills there, even after even after Fuelmaker nearly took out his backline with 1 Rampage. Senshin also swapping onto the Ana, which I didn't notice. A very, very interesting switch, perhaps to force out Suzu more effectively. The Zarya as well from Baka.
Yeah, as well with Ataki still having this Dragon Blade, trying to force it out, trying to get something to use from the defense bureau, find the solution, but everybody's just dead to Master Shadows, Death Laws, and finally getting some value. Finally, after third time's the charm, I guess.
You'll love to see it. It's Master Shadow's broken his duck. And yeah, Adrenaline just seemed poised to take the second point. Bananachick having that Bob, Ataki having the Dragon Blade, and Royal Throne's coming up on 5 ults. If they really wanted to recontest, I feel like they could with Ataki dashing in. But the question is if they want to. The Valkyrie comes out as does the Dragon Blade, so it seems like they will be doing that. But Zen Shapiro harassing Bananachick in the backline on the Tracer. Ataki's not really gotten anything with that blade beyond forcing the Kiriko teleport, but the Kiriko does fall. Baka going huge with this high charge Zarya. Shenchen and Bananachick getting 2 more picks, and Zen Shapiro's just accepted his fate. He knows he's not. Yeah, he knows it's
just full
over.
on race hitting. I'm surprised that I was about to say I'm surprised that Ataki didn't wait for the nano, especially with how close Zenshin was. But then again, what do I know? They're just gonna win it anyways with Banana Shake Bob. But now they do have the grab as well as the nano, which could be very good for the side of Royal Throne. Just nanoing, especially if they get a few in the grab, just nanoing the Genji just to get that damage up, and then probably building a very fast blade on the back of it.
I think they want to nano the Zarya here, actually. With the high charge, the Zarya could do so much, especially with that anti-nade forcing Fieldmaker to bide their time. Banana Shake with a huge early pick. Taking out Zen Shapiro, sort of scuppering any momentum Adrenaline might have hoped to build up, as now they can't really dive. Now they don't really have anything to open up those engages beyond the Junker Queen's knife. The Pulse Bomb is gone, at least until Zen Shapiro gets back, which, given that they're playing Tracer, won't take too long. But that's valuable time bleeding off the clock. Admittedly, there is only like 2 minutes left, but that's with the ultimates coming out from JLV Frog and the Kitsune Rush. But the huge pulse from Shenshin on the flank. Zen Shapiro got both of the supports of its Royal Throne, but Banana, Taki, and Baka more than capable of cleaning up for themselves. That fight just went by too quickly for me to comprehend what happened, honestly.
Yeah, it was very interesting, especially with Frog starting off with the Kitsune Rush only to get basically grabbed completely. Baka stays on the Zarya, but Fuelmaker switching to the Winston now instead of the Junker Queen to try to deal with probably Ataki's Genji with how dominant he has been playing. But it just looks like
more. Yeah, I think it's the Genji of Ataki, but also to some degree the Zenya or the Ana of Shenshin. Like that nade that they were able to get was so huge. Now Ataki pulling out this Dragon Blade hopes to replicate some of that value. Gets 2 picks instantly. Fuelmaker and Zen Shapiro do take out the backline of Royal Throne, and now it looks like the other 3 will not be there to clean up for them. As Fuelmaker's taken out Ataki, now the fight's been thrown into balance. I believe it's a 2v2, but Fuelmaker all on his own, no help, no resources, no nothing. The clock now dropping to around 1 minute, and Royal Throne putting up an admirable defense on this second point.
Yeah, very much so, and Zen Shapiro swapping off of the Tracer to the Cassidy.
Just hard brawl, it looks like.
Very hard brawl, and I think it could actually be very good, especially with how much damage Cassidy still does. Even though they did get the little health nerf, they still do a lot of damage, especially with if they're able to hit their shots, which it looks like Zen Shapiro has been able to do so far today. We've seen.
Oh, for sure. Fuelmaker getting into the backline. Shenshin's already gone down. There's the Winston paying dividends. Banana Shake in a very bad position. Fuelmaker is just able to basically manhandle the Ashe in this scenario, takes them out entirely. And now it's just Baka, Biscuit with that Valkyrie, and Ataki left to try and salvage something of this fight, but Ataki goes down. But Biscuit's res gets interrupted. Very nice for Fuelmaker there, just holding so much space, doing so much with the pure presence of the angry Winston. And Adrenaline now, kind of off the back of Fuelmaker, going in with that aggressive dive onto Shenshin, taking out Banana Shake, taking out Biscuit, basically taking out Ataki, is able to win that fight.
Yeah, now Royal Throne really only has one ultimate with the Graviton Surge, whereas on the side of Adrenaline, they have 4 ultimates coming up. And
that's an unfortunate TP.
Yeah, it just looks like Adrenaline's just going to try to keep their momentum going. Willmaker getting one, Master Shadow finding another onto Ataki. They're just going to try to run down Baka.
Baka's going to have to save grab here. Yeah, okay, that's not great now, as it's pretty much just a stall for Royal Throne. It's just whoever can get there has to get there and hope that it's enough. Ataki coming up to this Dragon Blade, but again we're seeing Shenshin swap off the Ana onto the Moira in the hopes of touching. Banana Shake onto the Tracer, goes down so early though. The Kitsune Rush from JLV Frog comes out. Zen Shapiro just wreaking havoc, sitting in the backline, just picking off targets, shooting fish in a barrel, as Cassidy does in fact say. And that's it. That's just Adrenaline fully in control in this last fight, really on this entirety of this third point, as they are able to cap and finish out this map, taking it and setting the score to 1-all.
Yeah, 1-all completely. Zen Shapiro getting play of the game. Something that honestly, Zen Shapiro was very sort of underrated. We did talk about him on the Tracer a lot, but his Cassidy was popping off completely, getting these nice picks, especially when it mattered most. I feel like he was sort of a little bit underrated. They talk about Fuelmaker popping off, getting 2-3 kills a fight, but yeah, it's just been Adrenaline was looking very, very well, especially with him getting stopped a little bit at the end of point 2, which is somewhat sort of common, I would say, on King's Row, getting stopped near that end of point 2 with how far the spawn is. But at the end, they were able to turn it, especially with Royal Throne having to use 2-3 ults to try to hold it for that long.
I do agree that high ground positioning that your backline is able to take on that last bit of second point is really, it can be quite oppressive. But we saw Fuelmaker on that Winston, on that Junker Queen as well, just opening so many opportunities up for his team. He's been putting up very solid performances. Really, the entirety of Adrenaline has. I think the same can be said for Royal Throne, but ultimately, it just seems as though Adrenaline, once Royal Throne is off this Doom comp, is able to take these fights so much more confidently, is able to play the game more on their own terms without Baka's aggression on the Doomfist, sort of forcing them to play into Royal Throne. And once Fuelmaker, once JLV Frog, once Master Shadow, once then Shapiro can do that, it just becomes so... It just feels like Adrenaline looks so much more comfortable, and as a result are able to just take these fights.
And of course, obviously with Tranquility, we'll be taking a 10-minute halftime. We scored is 1-1 Adrenaline Royal Throne. When we come back, it'll be Escort, but we have a nice little halftime show talking about breaking down some of the plays throughout. So let's throw it to Jonesy and them and just see what they have to say about what we've seen so far.
All right, what's up, everybody? We're back with another desk halftime show with my best friends in the entire world, Jonesy and Stiko.
Yippee!
The Galactic Penguins tank duo of season 8. Holy goats!
Except not really, because we lost in the finals. But anyway, that aside.
We're here with a banger of a match, actually. Royal Throne versus Adrenaline. And honestly, it's a pretty even match right now, 1-1. We've seen a lot of good things from both sides. Anything you want to highlight from either team? You know, we just saw Adrenaline take this map of KR, and then we saw Royal Throne take the map of Antarctica. So, any players you want to highlight right here?
I think Royal.
Go ahead.
First.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I will say.
Yeah.
I will say. Okay, you ready?
Go.
The fact that this team is getting away with putting so many resources into their Genji in the form of Ataki is insane, and it's actually kind of fun to watch. So that's kind of what we're going to be a little bit getting into here. But Stiko, go ahead.
I was just say a similar thing. Ataki is just like an anime protagonist in this lobby. It's crazy. He's got crazy plot armor.
This guy has the Mercy Pocket from Biscuit. He has the Discords from Shen. It's insane.
Yeah,
I want to highlight
Zark
Baka's
bubbles and
Doomfist
shit.
though. Baka's Doomfist is crazy. I punched like 4 people off the map. I'm pretty sure near the end of it. It was actually insane. That guy's Doomfist, especially when it comes to stall, is really nuts. So I think that's one of the players that I want to highlight here as we go into this King's Row. So we're gonna be watching this fight here, and we're gonna be seeing Ataki immediately. You can already see him going in with the blade and the dashes, already killing 2. And I think this fight was pretty much won by the fact that they had superior ults. Although we did see Fuelmaker use ult there. If you could slow Jonesy.
Yeah. This fight, it's just very well fight planned. Like on the defensive side, they might have overcommitted a little bit considering they still had to win like pretty much an entire another fight because King's Row is a map.
That's true.
They used the right ults they needed to counter ults. They used the or they used the they got Queen
Queen ult?
ulted. Yeah, they got
The
Queen
beat.
ulted. They used Doom ult to survive. They beat used against them. They tranced early to keep their DPS line alive. It's just
Yeah, you can
very
see-
very well played for both teams. They're fun.
You can just
fight to
see
watch.
though. I think Adrenaline's had really a big advantage because they actually just forced out all of the open side of Royal Throne. So Royal Throne just really had nothing to go into the next fight. Maybe a pulse bomb with a hero stick could have potentially won the fight, but I think Adrenaline's just had this fight under control from the beginning with that Blossom.
Yeah.
And,
We do
we're gonna
see.
look at that!
Yeah,
Look at Baka just punching
it's-
people off the map. This guy's crazy, insane
This
player.
kid. He got like 4 kills off the map this fight. It's insane.
I think did we see Ataki dash off the map?
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
That's vibe. Oh, look at that! Almost. Oh, brother. I think that honestly, I think that was the catalyst. You can pause right here. I think that was the catalyst of why what's it called? The Royal Throne ended up losing that fight. It's because Ataki dashed off the map.
No way.
No, that's actually so depressing.
Tough
I kind of
fight.
want to see this stick onto this Reaper here.
That wasn't
Oh,
a
it
stick.
wasn't a
oh,
stick.
the Reaper
ults on top of the pulse
TP'd
bomb.
into it. Yeah.
That's really
Damn,
tough.
that's really
that is
unlucky.
tough.
Reaper
'Cause
actually.
this could have been big from Reaper here, and then we
Yeah.
just Banana Shake says no.
Crazy play from them. I mean, we'll see. You know, it's just the fight is over because Banana Shake. Although Banana Shake does kill too, we're just gonna see Baka just punch Mint off the map as well. And this is what I mean by Baka just like being able to kill so many people with environmental kills on the side, but it doesn't even matter because Adrenaline's just come back in full force.
Yeah, it's interesting because there is kind of, I mean, sometimes when you're playing a match, you might call for essentially like, okay, we know we have enough space to get back to this fight. Don't commit too much. Let's try to lose it, and then let's get back into the fight next. And I think that's kind of an effective part of the defense here. But that being said, now we're running into last fight territory, so everything needs to get committed at this point.
Yeah, and they have to build ults fast. You see Biscuit and Baka and Taki, you know, trying to grab their ults, but it's just not gonna be enough. You see the rush, although I don't think that rush was necessarily needed. I think it was fine because I don't think they'll have time to touch. And yeah, you can see here that Biscuit really doesn't have much time to touch here, and it does end up losing the map. So I think overall, what we saw from Adrenaline's is a lot of good ult usage, and it was just really back and forth. But the pure fact that defense has stall potential, you saw with especially because there's some of their players, you know, like Ataki filled the map, and then they're able to get a good recontest in with a bunch of their players coming out of spawn throughout that entire fight. With Mint speeding back, they're obviously in a very mobile comp. They have Tracer, Reaper, Lucio, Curie TP, Junker Queen Shout. Like, they have so many abilities that they can use just to get back to point fast and contest that it makes it all the ults that the Royal Throne used is just useless. Adrenaline really had that under control there, even though it was so close to the end. And,
Totally agreed. And that's where you look at this and you really kind of think, gosh, this is a pretty good defense. So it's interesting to see then that the offense didn't go as much in the way of Adrenaline here. But
I mean, they did win the map though, which is fair.
True. Yes, they did. But with all that in mind, you just love to see this kind of somewhat goofy composition choices. Already the casters have been talking about it with this Genji and the Mercy. But obviously it's finding some amount of traction as we're going into this, and we just want to see whether we can continue to see that and maybe shift some momentum in the match moving forward.
Yes. Something I would like to highlight is Zen Shapiro is getting so much done with minimal resources. I think it's very, very impressive. They're running a comp where there's nothing aside from Shout that can really benefit a Tracer, and they're still like very, very capable of like matching up to Ataki. Great.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. I just think that if Adrenaline's can keep up this aggressiveness that they've been playing with the Junk Queen comp, they can win. But if Royal Throne's able to put enough resources into Taki in which he can just hard carry the entire game on Genji, I don't know. I think Royal Throne definitely have a really good shot at winning this game if Ataki hard carry. They always do.
Totally agreed.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be it for our halftime show. Thank you everybody for watching. And at this point, we're going to go move back to our casters and continue the game. So Have fun. Hope the rest of this game goes well, and see you next time.
Thanks.
Hello, welcome back to Tranquility Knockout Round 2. We are here with Adrenaline and Royal Throne, both sitting at 1-1 throughout the matches. If you haven't watched them so far, I would say wait until the end of this, because of course you want to see how it ends out first before going back. But if you want to go back first, go ahead. It's been a pretty good matchup. I'm going to talk about the other maps that are going on really fast. Space Created versus Maelstrom was sitting at 1-1. Adrenaline, obviously Royal Throne. Adrenaline versus Royal Throne, obviously 1-1. Tempest 0, Thunder Duckies 1, and that's all the maps that have started so far. We're heading into Shambali Monastery, Riskfall. What do you expect from both of these teams?
I would not be surprised to see the same rom comps from the same rom comp or roughly brawl comps. Okay. See, this one's weird because you either see teams just hard forcing brawl comps, or you'll see the double shield on defense. Sometimes you'll see the funny Ryan strats on attack. Or not double shield, more poke comps, sorry, with a Sig. There were a few subs coming in. Athen on DPS for Master Shadow, and Lixotech in for Ataki, which is, given the form Ataki's in, is a really interesting swap. They are okay. I guess it makes more sense given that they're running the double shield, or not the double shield. I keep saying double shield. I mean double sniper. The Sigma poke comp, which I think we all know how this one plays. It's almost an exact mirror, except Adrenaline is on Tracer and Ball rather than Hanzo Sig, opting for more of that poke dive hybrid with the Bap Zen on both sides. This is actually really interesting.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting spot that Mint heroes in, as Mint immediately finds Lixotech on the Widow. But yeah, like you said, trying to just get that aggressively pushed from the side of Filmmaker and Athene, just trying to find the backline, which you're able to do immediately on the side of Biscuit. And it looks like Royal Throne is just gonna have to go back to the spawn room and try to think about what they can do to stop this, especially with how fast they got the lead, especially with Shen Spiro hitting.
Yeah, I think Adrenaline's just perfectly counter-comped. Just perfectly countered. Okay, well, Fieldmaker's in his spot above, but he gets out. Adrenaline, though, I think they perfectly counter-comped, or countered Royal Throne's composition with this Ball Tracer to get onto the backline of Royal Throne, as we were seeing with Athen able to take the flank. Fieldmaker able to roll and force out that lamp, and now we're seeing it again, rolling into the background of the Pile Driver onto Banana Shake and Biscuit, who has swapped over to the Ana. Baka dropping really low. Lixotech looking for that shot on the Tracer, but just not quite able to get it. Fieldmaker taking out Baka again. The ball comp getting big value here. A Then posting the Pulse Bomb already. Zen Shapiro as well, close to the Infrasight.
Yeah, whereas Baka swatches, we see a switch now. Baka switching over to the Hog, which is interesting in itself. Now switching back over to the Diva. Okay, I like that a lot better. I like that a lot better. Lixotech swapping to the Sombra, and then Banana Shake swapping to the Tracer, who dies almost immediately. I feel like I'm cursing people now.
It is what it is. Banana Shake, this comp works really well into the ball comp, I think, but I mean, Lixotech does take out Mint, so now it's just the healing of JLV Frog for the side of Adrenaline. Zen Shapiro popping the intercept, but not really able to get anything. Just missing his shots and kind of being forced out of the LOS of the other team by Baka taking a lot of space, but Athen and JLV Frog getting massive picks. Athen on the ever-elusive Tracer, able to just dash in and out of danger at a moment's notice. Banana Shake goes down again, trying to 1v1 Mint. Mint's looking like goats, looking like a Goatsy or a Brig on this character in this position, and I mean, it really just seems like Royal Throne aren't doing anything. It feels like they're just going in without any plan, without any target. Though that being said, Shenshin takes out Fuelmaker, though Biscuit is traded, and there it is again. Baka, like, okay, in this case, I can't really say that was on Royal Throne. Adrenaline does an excellent job of taking momentum there, especially with Fuelmaker rolling through, asserting his dominance over this entire lobby with the minefield. Then again with a big pick onto the Tracer.
Yeah, and just sort of, it just seems like they're just trickling in, trying to get the point around the corner, which is what they were able to do. They were able to get it close to that sort of more elusive second corner, being able to get a little bit of a push. That way you can just go through the little shop on the right to try to get it to it. But at the end of the day, it just looks like Fuelmaker's just trying to roll through everybody. But Royal Throne does have all 5 ults, whereas on the side of Adrenaline, they have none coming up. So let's see how they're going to be able to use this and see if they're able to clean it up. I feel like... Never mind.
Oh,
I guess
no!
Royal Throne's just going to die immediately. Again, cursing is just apparently what I've been doing this entire week.
And now, like... Now Adrenaline's got 3 ults with 20 seconds on the clock. Like, you have to do something. JLB Frog is fine with that. He's gonna live. He's got the jump. He's got the hops. And the bomb comes out from Baka, and it's not really gonna get anything. Baka just being somehow stymied by a Brig with Rally up. Now, making it even harder for them to find anything. Banana Shake and Lixotech on cart. The EMP comes out from Lixotech. Hopefully, they need to run onto this ball. Fuelmaker does fall. No more fuel will be made. The economy's in shambles. But it doesn't really matter. Zen Shapiro takes out Banana Shake. I guess the Milkshake economy is also a disaster. And the backline of Royal Throne pushing this cart, but Lixotech goes down. Mint on the Brig. Actually dominating the entire lobby. JLB Frog takes out Shenshin. Zen Shapiro with another crucial pick. I mean, that's just dominance through and through from Fuelmaker on the ball, from S10 on the Tracer, from Mint on the Brig, from Adrenaline as a whole.
Yeah, and honestly, like you were saying, but not really saying, just being like, what just happened right there? I feel like that's how Royal Throne was thinking. They were doing good for the first 2 maps, and then you make one switch, and it just seems like everything just went kaput, and they weren't able to turn the corner. Like I don't know if you mentioned it, but Biscuit died first in that last fight, so it was just Jen's healing at the end, which they're on Zenyatta. They can't really do a lot of healing. They did have the trans, and they popped it, but at the end of the day, that's still not a lot of healing for a team to stay alive. Whereas on the side of Adrenaline, they just kept up that momentum the entire time, not letting their foot off the gas. And now we're seeing the same come out for the side of Adrenaline with the ball comp. But now on the side of Royal Throne, we're seeing the Junker Queen. Biscuit is going off of onto the Kiriko, and then Lixotech is going to the Ashe.
Yeah, Lixotech on the Ashe here. This junk. Okay.
It's a very weird comp. I can say that, but.
I think it's gonna play. I think they're trying to play somewhat like that Hog Sig comp from the Season 3 finals, where the Hog just buys space for his snipers with the Junker Queen. With the Bap Kiri as well. That's an interesting one. I can see it working where the Kiri, the Reaper, the Junker Queen walk, and the sniper tries to get value. But into this ball comp, which is able to dive so easily, I don't know how that's gonna work, because like look at where Fuelmaker, look at the position Fuelmaker's in. He's already got the positioning to roll into the backline of Royal Throne is what I would have said, but it doesn't seem like he wants to do that. Lixotech takes out Zen Shapiro. It takes out S10 as well. That's big. That's what they needed. That's exactly what they needed to get some momentum going, to get their mental right back into that space that they need to be in to pull off the full hold here.
Yeah, now they're just sort of trying to chill, trying to find some opening. It looks like Royal Throne is just trying to go a little bit aggressive, trying to find another pick, so that way they don't have to just keep on rolling it. But yeah, Lixotech finding those opening 2 picks is really good for the side of Royal Throne to try to build up that momentum back, especially with them having not really a lot of pressure on it. But Lixotech almost dies, but he'll able to get out of it completely.
Yeah, Zen Shapiro forced out of this position. Lixotech gets the pick. That's another big one from Lixotech, but they're kind of isolated on this high ground. They are able to get out with the grappling hook just as Fuelmaker pops that pile driver. S10 now in the backline looking for anything to go onto. It seems as though they will be looking at Shenshin, but Biscuit out of nowhere on the Kiriko. Absolute dominance from them. The full hold continues, I suppose. And now Lixotech's close to the infra sites, but that's about it from either team. Offense 70 to this pulse, but I don't question how much they're going to be able to get. It seems as though they're struggling getting into the backline of Royal Throne. Lixotech again, that's exactly what you need really from your Widow. Getting those picks at the right times. Baka goes down though, that's a lot of presence. A lot of the ability to take space for Royal Throne gone off the field. Zen Shapiro takes out Shenshin, that's so big, that's their healing gone. Almost entirely. Biscuit's close to this Kitsune rush. But the man disadvantage is going to start to become an overwhelming deficit. Especially with Fieldmaker in the backline with these Wrecking Ball mines up. It's probably gonna look to force out Suzu, maybe get a pick. The pile driver comes in, there's the mines, doesn't quite get Biscuit. Mint on the Zenyatta takes out Banana Shake, but Lixotech trading out the Widowmaker. Then with the pulse could go huge. The rush from Biscuit did come out. Shenshin still has his window. Lixotech, he barely survives the pulse, doesn't even get hit by it. JLB Frog's Immortality Field used and goes down accordingly. Lixotech, that's massive! That's crazy from Lixotech, but the Rampage from Baka came out and it didn't get anything. Which they may yet live to regret that, but in the meantime, the clock's at about a minute, and Royal Throne, seemingly against all the odds, on an insane comp that I would have never have thought of could work. They're somehow holding.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
Zen Shapiro is fighting another one. I feel like the comp on the side of Adrenaline is just trying to be able to get the backline, which they haven't really been able to do, as Fuel God just rolls in the back, trying to stay alive. Zen Shapiro just trying to find a pick, but isn't able to do it. But actually does fall low. Maybe trying to get one, but Zen Shapiro
goes down. Finally. Transcendence from Mint. Yeah, Zen Shapiro just has all the license to take over here. That's a 3K now. Will they get 4? Will they get 4? Baka goes down. Lixotech can't touch. Yeah, it was. To be fair, that was a really good effort from Royal Throne. That comp was actually working. It seemed like they had a solution. Zen Shapiro just took over. I feel like they overinvested into that fight where Lixotech killed like 3, and once that happens, there's not much you can do really. The other team just has such a big advantage, and it wasn't even like you said. They weren't even really playing that comp to its strengths. It felt like Adrenaline weren't. They weren't really able to get into the backline of Royal Throne, but they ended up making it work off the back of some heroics from Zen Shapiro.
Yeah, and it seemed like too they were very worried about Baka's Junker Queen. It seemed like they're just sort of trying to poke and prod, not really trying to engage that much. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but it's like it just seemed like they were very passive. They didn't want to go too far. Whereas on the defense, they were just like, you know what, let's just play. Let's just do it. Let's just keep on going in. Might as well. Let's have some fun with it. And I feel like that was working on the side of defense. I feel like if you brought it to attack, I feel like they could have won that a little bit faster. But that's something that, hey, we can go back. We could take a look at the VOD and just try to practice this. I feel like they could have done it a lot better. And I feel like especially how well Lixotech was playing the Widow, I feel like they were a little bit too passive and giving him too much space. And then it's the second that they were able to get that early pick, and then Zen Shapiro was able to get that opening and get that sort of pressure relieved off of his shoulders. That's when Zen Shapiro just took over completely. So now we're heading to Coliseum. Oh,
I agree with the idea that I agree with your thoughts on their play style of Adrenaline's play style with that ball comp, where I mean, I think they should be scared of that Junker Queen. Like but in situations where you're getting more disconnected from your backline, from your Bab Zen, and you're coming up against the threat of that Junker Queen with the knife, with the carnage, with the insane regen, the value to be had can be massive, and can really hurt the can really hurt your ball comp, because your ball comp is looking for an opening to go into or to dive on, an isolated player, someone with a cooldown on them that might make them diveable. But when you're constantly looking at that Junker Queen, when the Junker Queen's stacked with the rest of your team, you can't really go on them because they have the commanding shout, they have the sustain. That coupled with the damage and the healing from the rest of the team makes it pretty hard to play the game into that comp, really. And now going into Coliseo, I mean, I've seen everything played on this map at this point. I've seen ball comps, I've seen Junker Queen, I've seen Winston, I've even seen Hog. I think we'll see how this works. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this works. Ataki and Lixotech are going to be the DPS line for Royal Throne. Maybe leaning a bit more into Ataki's carry potential on the Genji, though they are investing a lot of resources into him to make that carry potential happen. It's not like those resources are wasted. Let's be honest. He's getting massive value on this Genji.
I mean, like, sorry for cutting you off, but like, again, going through it, Ataki was that hard carry, and it's like the second that we saw him get replaced, it was subbed out. It looked like a completely different team for the side of Royal Throne. So him coming back in is going to sort of be that strong suit, and of course, going to Coliseo, it is a push map. Which again, when I asked them what is their favorite sort of map / team / mode, I should say, they said push. For Royal Throne, they said push was their favorite. They said they like to practice it, and it allows for a lot more of the aggressive comps that they like to run, which I could see with Ataki coming back in. They would love to probably play that, the Doomfist comp, something like that, where it's a lot more aggressive, especially with Coliseo, where there's a lot more walls and not a lot more open space like Esperanza or even New Queen Street.
This long corridor in the middle of the map especially kind of does favor that brawl playstyle, but the rest of the map is more open. It does let you play more free flowing. We're seeing now Steelmaker and Adrenaline looking to go back to that Winston, to go back to the Reaper Cass, Lucio Kiri, the sort of 6-man brawl inspired compositions. Where you're sort of playing as just one stacked unit, one death ball, just overwhelming the other team through sheer presence and the sheer snowball. We are gonna have a pause coming in from the side from Royal Throne. It appears as though Baka is trolling, according to Ataki. If they do a little trolling, fair enough.
Yeah,
I swear this kid is prob on FIFA. Yeah.
I mean,
hey, he's got his priorities.
He does have his priorities. But yeah, going back to what we were saying before, like, Adrenaline loves this. They said they like this Monkey Rush comp. A lot of that sort of a little bit of aggressive comp. Whereas inside of Royal Throne, it looks like they're probably going to try to go back to that Doomfist comp that they were running back in King's Row, as well as Antarctic Peninsula, which looked really well. It was really aggressive, really fun. The glass cannon backline with the Mercy Zen, something that I feel like they could do a lot better, especially with how sort of different their Simbali Monastery team comp looked, especially with how passive it was being played. It just didn't look like it was that team that they wanted. It didn't look like it was that sort of style that they wanted to go to.
Yeah, it does seem as though they do want to lean into those brawl comps more. They are finding a decent bit of success on them, to be fair. They won King's Row in those comps. They nearly took Antarctic Peninsula. We will see, though, because it seems as though Royal Throne are leaning more towards this comp, which they nearly won Kings on, which they won Antarctic Peninsula on with Ataki Genji, Biscuit Mercy, Shenshin Zenyatta for the Discord, for the Blue Beam. Basically just letting Ataki carry, which it works pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it was working, and we're heading back in, seeing what we're going to select.
Baka's on the Queen.
Junker Queen. Okay, that's a bit interesting.
Yeah, we've only seen Baka's Junker Queen on Antarctic Peninsula, and it did not seem to be working too well. They switched off it almost immediately, or I think after losing a fight. But yeah, we're seeing the Mercy just pocketing Ataki, aiming to make those dives as easy for him as possible, aiming to make those openings as exploitable as possible with the obviously the Blue Beam, with the healing. just your bot standard Pocket Mercy, except it's on a Genji, which you don't really see pocketed, but it did not help with the Taki there, and Senchipiro getting a really quick pick. But Baka gets 2 right off the bat, showing the power of the Junker Queen. The resurrection does come on to Ataki, who's already 50% to this Dragon Blade.
Yeah, Ataki being 50% is going to make it a lot difficult, especially with how much slower you can build up the Lucio beat drop. But also, like we said before, with the Junker Queen, having that commanding shout and being able to move around very fast, especially with Fieldmaker being on this Winston, it's an indication to get completed to be the main focus point of what Rothman wants to go after.
Yeah, I mean, a Carnage from the Junker Queen's knives to displace all do so much, and especially with the Discord of Shenshin, who does take out Fieldmaker, makes life very hard. But Zen Shapiro is thriving in this environment, getting 2 picks, getting 3, Mint as well, taking out Ataki, who gets a bit split. And Zen Shapiro says, anything you can do, I can do better, getting 4 on the Cassidy. Now both teams have DPS ults, then also very close to the pulse. Mint getting up to that sound barrier, Baka coming up to the Rampage, which all of these could be fight turning ultimates.
And especially too with JLV Frog being on the Kiriko, having that Suzu being able to sort of basically hard counter what Baka's ultimate does, but now Blade coming in from Ataki trying to find somebody isn't really able to find one. But Zenshiro finds Lixotech with the high noon. Baka does find one, but Fieldmaker, it just looks like it's just all blue in the kill feed. It looks like as the side of Royal Throne.
JLV Frog goes huge there too.
Yeah, JLV Frog just goes off, which also I didn't realize this, but Fieldmaker switched to the Junker Queen, so
he's already 70 to a Rampage. Like
already.
Yeah, I mean the lifesteal is just insane now. The health regen got increased almost by almost doubled in that new meets attach. Baka back onto the Doom Fist. There it is. There's Baka on his carry character. Baka putting the carry pants on. We'll see if this works. If they'll work this time. Okay, well JLV Frog. Yep, they're working. Yeah. They're working. He's cooking with the blue beam, and that's 4 dead. Fieldmaker coming up to this Rampage now, but now that Baka's on his main character arc, he can kind of just dominate now, I think.
Yeah, where Zenshin switches over to the Zen is where uses their Tranquility, but inside of Adrenaline they do have 4 ults coming up with the Rush already coming online. JLV Frog finding one of the Lixotech, but it's gonna be tough for the side of Adrenaline to try to fight this. That Zen Shapiro finds another one, and never mind. It's all blue in the kill feed. And blew my heart with Zen Shapiro getting 3 more, but now on the side of Adrenaline, they do just have the Rampage, the beat, and are close to another high noon. Whereas Royal Throne, all they have is Baka's Doomfist ult and Lixotech's high noon.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if used right, that noon can get a lot of value. I mean, Lixotech just needs to play super hard around the high ground, but Fieldmaker with this Rampage can make it very hard for them to do so. Ataki drops very low, and Baka as well pops that Meteor Strike soon, I think. JLV Frog goes down, Ataki again, coming up huge in the backline. Baka with a huge displacement off the back of that power charge punch. Zen Shapiro's so low, he goes down. Mint in not a great position either, but it seems like they'll live. Fieldmaker, though, will not be so fortunate. Gets obliterated, really, in a bad position. And Fieldmaker Junker Queen swap has been working out pretty well. It just seems like, to me, it just seems like Adrenaline are getting a bit split in these mid fights, and that's opening up Baka. That's giving Baka so much space to wreak havoc on the Doomfist and really do what he does best, which is going with that punch to kill things. Lixotech's high noon doesn't really get anything though. It just buys some space. Ataki with the high noon comes out, pulls it out. Fieldmaker takes him out though instantly. Then taking out Lixotech. That's both of the DPS gone on the side of Royal Throne. Shenjin though, showing that he can do the DPS's job just as well. Getting a pick onto a Then really well, really at a really critical point of the fight. The res from Ataki comes out, and that's just casual another 2K.
Yeah, casual.
Ataki's a demon with these dash resets.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Fieldmaker hasn't swapped to the Winston, which has been sort of working for the side of Adrenaline against Baka's Doomfist, sort of playing that sort of swapping game completely. But Fieldmaker keeping with the Junker Queen ult, where the Then does have the Pulse Bomb, but it looks like with Royal Throne getting the checkpoint already, it looks like it's gonna be very difficult for the side of Adrenaline trying to come back from this now.
Yeah, Zenchapiro goes down early, which is not the person you want to lose in that fight. It offers that takes so much of your staying power away. Ataki's just taking over Rip. Like, really, like, JLV Frog goes down as well. Mint's not in a great position, but with the power of the slippery frog man, is able to escape with his life. Zenchapiro trying to be Fleta. Okay, never mind, he is Fleta. Zenchapiro is literally him. Like, yeah, that's just a main character moment right there. Throws the fight right back into the balance. Fuelmaker onto the Winston, the prophesied pick that you predicted. Takes out Ataki. Shenshin goes down, and Baka's Meteor Strike forced out, but he's just gotta leave. That's just. I mean, you can't see that coming until it's already killed too. Really, from Zenchapiro. Just a crazy swap onto the Widow, and he's sticking to it as well.
Yeah, and Laggyson immediately, hey, Fuelmaker's on the Winston. My time to go to Reaper, apparently. So yeah, on the side of Royal Throne, getting both support basically up as well as Ataki's played, whereas the team finds the pulse bomb onto Biscuit, but it just looks like it's gonna be a 30-point Zenchapiro drops the Transcendent, trying to keep everybody alive, so that way they're only one, but Zenchapiro finds
Zenchapiro's cooking. Zenchapiro's actually cooking.
But now it's all blue in the kill feed, with Ataki finally falling to the side of a Then, but yeah, now it just looks like it could be the turning point for Adrenaline. This could be the momentum that they needed to get the point. Whereas Baka is now off the Doomfist again, onto the Diva. Just keep on playing the nice little rock paper scissors. You're going this, I will go that instead.
Baka no longer has the power of anime on his side, but what he does have is Ataki's Dragon Blade, which is gonna get Zenchapiro out of the fight really early. Both support ults invested from Adrenaline, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna do much for them. Shenshin does go down, so maybe I'll be eating my words. Ataki as well. Lixotech does take off Fuelmaker, though that counter pick showing its effectiveness really. Biscuit dropping very low with this Valkyrie, but is just barely able to survive for now. Though then with the Pulse Bomb could fix that. Biscuit dropping very low. JLV Frog goes down though at the hands of Lixotech on this Reaper, getting big value. Baka close to the. That's the rematch. Never. No, that's the full bomb.
That's the full bomb.
That is a full bomb. That is a war crime right there. Athena on the trace with a pulse bomb. Fuelmaker has his Primal Rage up if he wants to go into the backline and wreak some havoc. Shenshin swapping onto this Kiriko though is a very slippery target. It doesn't really seem like you have anyone to go on with this Primal. And okay, well, Athen's looking for a pulse bomb, maybe to make Athen's life, make Shenshin's life that little bit harder. But the teleport very wisely invested. Lixotech with the Death Blossom gets Zenchapiro. Ataki again taking out JLV. It just seems as though the DPS of Adrenaline are coming up huge in these fights, but the Royal Throne's overall team play is just so consistent. Like,
yeah, it really is.
They've always got the clutch plays on lock.
And especially with Ataki playing the Genji character, it always seems as pretty good time in time match. But Fuelmaker switching over to the Zarya to try to counter Baka's
Zenchapiro
dies immediately after getting bombed. But Baka does find one in its final breath, but Zenchapiro finding another. Nope. Ataki, Lamb comes out and is trying to stay alive, but it looks like it might be Adrenaline's time to try to turn it.
Mint is playing out of their mind right now, building beef so fast. It's actually crazy. Ataki so close to that blade as well. This guy is just unreal, really. In this match, he's been getting so many resources and making great work of them, making great use of them, really. Zenchapiro still on his castle, getting big value on that as well. Baka back onto the Doomfist, back onto his main character. Ready to take over the lobby once more, I suppose, with the Kitsune Rush coming out from Shenshin. I believe that is their first. Zenchapiro, oh, Ataki, oh, that's just unfortunate, I guess. Taken out at the hands of Zenchapiro. The Valkyrie comes out from Biscuit. That's both supports gone from Royal Throne, invested into one fight. Both teams have a habit of doing this, of popping both their support ults. But it doesn't really seem like either team can get much value out of either of them. Shenshin goes down, now going into overtime. Adrenaline are in control of the cart. Oh, that's just Doom being bugged, really.
Oh.
Ataki, though, Ataki's literally him. Gets a crazy pick onto Ascend with I don't even know what the kind of animation cancel that was. Lixotech! Okay, Lixotech kills 3, and that just wraps up the map, yeah. That's... What a way to send us to map 5, really. The DPS of both teams just taking over the lobby in this one.
Yeah, it really was.
It's. I mean, you love to see it. You really do. Good DPS gameplay, as we're seeing here, with Zen Shapiro just. Okay. This is a good play, but I would have preferred Zen Shapiro literally becoming Fleta. But yeah. Regardless, I mean it's great to see good DPS gameplay, good overall gameplay from these teams. The cohesion is great to see, especially with Baka and Ataki on these dives. Fuelmaker mint on these engages, Zen Shapiro being able to make get great value out of them. Athene following up on the I've said Athene's name like 5 different ways this match, but they're able to get big value out of this Tracer as well, getting these really nice pulse bombs with good engages. Banana Shake coming back in for Lixotech, which is an interesting one with the value Lixotech was getting, but I mean, I believe in Banana Shake. Banana Shake my GOAT, Banana Shake MVP. Going into our final map, Nepal, this will decide the winner of the series. I feel like we see these teams just stick to what they've been running, right? Like, sure.
Yeah, I feel like we really do. I feel like we might see Adrenaline switch back to the Ramatra comp, especially on it being Nepal, with how well he does play, especially on the heavy brawl maps with Village, Shrine. Sanctum, you could sort of get away with running the Winston comp, but I feel like it's very much so just let's run what we've been doing good. And the 2 maps that you played, you did play the Ramatra, whereas this last map on Calisteo, I feel like if they did play that as well, I feel like they could have come out with a win and maybe a little bit more of a better showing. But on the side of Royal Throne, I can't really talk about it. I can't really not talk about it, but Ataki just going off completely, getting all of those resources his way, and just completely just being like, okay, cool, I'm going to carry this fight no matter what. Baka's been playing really well, but it's just been the Ataki show, sort of. Everybody's been able to pop off on the side of Royal Throne, but it just looks like it's Ataki versus Adrenaline right now.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, I don't know if it's really Ataki versus Adrenaline, because a lot of this credit has to be given where due, and in this case it is due to the supports of Royal Throne, who've been playing pretty well, especially Biscuit, who's been super consistently enabling Ataki on the Mercy, which I feel has been a big part of why Ataki's been able to do so much. Shenshin as well on that Zenyatta when they are playing it. Consistent Discord priority has been amazing. Trance usage has been great. They get big picks fairly often as well. The supports on both teams, I feel, have been very silent carries of sorts. They're not popping up in the kill feed so much as Ataki and Zen Shapiro, as Fuelmaker and Baka are, but they're still getting big value, I feel. Especially Biscuit on this Mercy, whose positioning has been immaculate. We're gonna see Biscuit back on the Mercy again. Ataki not on the Genji, on Pharah though. Banana Shake on Tracer, as has been their MO, I suppose.
Yeah.
Zen Shapiro May, Athene Reaper. Interesting.
Yes, I'm surprised that they didn't bring back Master Shadow, especially how well they were playing on the May of the last time. But having Zen Shapiro on this, especially with a projectile like that, it could be a little bit difficult to hit, but who knows, we could still see it. But as we go to this first fight, it just looks like it could be Ataki just trying to get pressure, whereas JLB Fog just dies immediately.
Ataki's just him. I don't know. Get this guy on his comfort picks and he dominates, evidently getting another pick. Fuelmaker is dazed and confused. Ataki will put him out of his misery. That's 3 for them. Baka also on the Doomfist. Mint's hanging on for dear life, but yeah, that's a 4K for Ataki, just starting off the map on the best possible note, I suppose. And what better time than in map 5 of a playoff match to pull out the Pharah pick and kill 4 on your first fight on it? Like, obviously it's early days, but this is a really good start.
Yeah, especially with them already basically having the barrage. Whereas Adrenaline is just trying to make swaps, switch it over to the Winston comp now, but Ataki is 5 off of the barrage completely, already has it, so I won't be surprised if we see it pop immediately right here.
I think he does have to be wary of Senshapiro though, with that magnetic grenade, with that with the hit scan nature of Cassidy. Biscuit's gone down, so the pocket is gone for Ataki, but okay, well he just doesn't need one, I guess. A thing of Fuelmaker getting picks, but Baka as well coming into his own, getting a crucial one. Shenshin goes down though, so it's a 2v1, and Baka just seems like he may not be able to win this one, as the healing from Mint, a very consistent support, and Fuelmaker's everlasting presence on this Winston, on this point, is able to buy his team a lot of, or Baka is able to buy his team a lot of time, though. They are able to re-engage with that Meteor Strike. The pulse from Banana Shake comes out, takes out Fuelmaker. How have they found their way back into this one? Biscuit goes down first again, but look at the position Senshapiro is in. Mint gets Ataki, which is massive, who swapped back onto the Genji. JLV Frog, though, takes out 2 in this fight, coming into his own on the flex support, or on the Baptiste, getting picks as he has been doing fairly consistently throughout this series. That fight went every way possible, and somehow at the end of it, Adrenaline come out on top.
Yeah, but here's the thing though too, Adrenaline, even though they did come out on top, Royal Throne was able to just hold on to that point for so long, getting almost 50%, and now we see Baka onto the Diva, Ataki back onto the Genji. They're sort of almost comfortably suspected to see a Winston come out, but now it's just, now Adrenaline has almost every single ult besides Vince Noon, besides Vince Heat, which they use immediately, with then Shapiro finding Biscuit with the high noon, just trying to stay alive. Then Shapiro finding Baka's mech, and just, it's just, yeah, all Adrenaline, all blue in the kill feed. Yeah, and yeah, Baka not having a really good time, especially on the Diva, which it seems like could use a little bit of work. I'm just saying, but again, they've been playing really good. And no, please no, please
not
don't
real.
hog.
That's not real. No. I'm seeing things. That's not real. There's no way. There's no way we're seeing a hog in a Tranquility Discord tier playoffs match.
They have the
upper bracket map 5, no less. Like, okay, well, when I said crazy comps, I didn't mean this, Baka. Like, please, please.
Yeah, they
but Athena on the Reaper, with the Death Blossom up. Yeah, there's the issue with the hog. He's just a big ult battery now. Biscuit goes down again. Now Adrenaline, having surpassed Royal Throne in terms of their point percentage, looking to put Royal Throne under. Just Banana Shake. Okay. I don't even know what happened there, but all good. JLV Frog has been Banana Shake DC'd, I assume.
Okay, I believe Banana Shake DC'd, cause
I would imagine that to be
they
the case,
DC'd. Yeah,
that's unfortunate. Yeah.
That is unfortunate.
JLV Frog on this Baptiste, which you never see with a Winston. It's always the Ana, the Curie. But JLV Frog has been doing an exemplary job on this Baptiste, getting some crucial picks. Mint as well, getting very big value, playing this more aggressive Baptiste, playing as a more aggressive backline, and I feel as though Baka on the Diva really hasn't been able to get anything into this backline. You can see they're trying to dive the Baptiste, but the front line of Athena on the Reaper, of Senshapiro on the Cassidy, just getting those crucial picks on the backline, of Fuelmaker's just an unstoppable object right now, and I feel like Royal Throne need to figure something out, and they need to figure it out fast. I question if Ataki's Genji is going to be able to get anything with the Mercy Bap, with how much Biscuit's been suffering on this, with how much Biscuit's been getting picked off early.
Yeah, and especially too on the side of it. Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, on the side of Adrenaline, having 3 ults with both their DPS ults plus their window, plus coming up on Mint's beat, it looks like it might be almost wraps for the side of Royal Throne, especially with Baka going to the hog instead of, I feel like on the Junker Queen, I feel like they could have done a little bit better. They've been showing that a lot, and they've actually been playing really well with the Junker Queen. Going to the hog now, it just looks like it might be wraps almost completely for the side of Adrenaline, especially with it being 90% now and climbing.
My issue with Hog isn't that it's Hog rather than another tank, it's that it's Hog.
Yes,
because Hog does nothing. Hog does nothing functionally. That lamp is very ambitious from Shenshin. Blade from Ataki, just taken out immediately by a Then. Okay. I mean, what a statement that is from Adrenaline, taking this first map in dominant fashion, really. This first sub-map, rather. It's one more and they win. One more and they win the series, and that's really all there is for them to do now, for Adrenaline to do. Royal Throne, on the other hand, they look out of sorts. They don't look like that, especially after the hog swap. They just didn't look like they had a plan. It seemed like they were sort of starting to throw stuff at the wall and see what stuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Ataki back on the Genji, Banana Shake on the Ashe, which are comfort picks for the both of them. Shenshin on the Zenyatta. I like this a lot more, just enabling Ataki to no end.
Biscuit. Okay, they did swap back to the Mercy. Let's say they did play BAP once, but it looked all that good. Shenshin going back to the BAP, all for the Zen, Baka onto the ball. Whereas on the side of Adrenaline, keeping with what stayed true, the Winston and BAP comp, which looked fairly well, especially with how strong Royal Throne has been playing, being able to hold their own on that fight, and now Royal Throne just needs to try to out-rotate them, it seems like, whereas Fuelmaker's already on the side of Royal Throne, but Banana Shake dies.
Oh, Banana Shake, JLV again! JLV goes more like absolutely crucial pick in this fight, especially because of how much damage that takes off the field for Royal Throne. JLV, okay, this guy is just taking over on the map. He's looking like Violet Shoe Rascal, I guess, rolled into one, an absolutely domineering presence on this Baptiste. Okay,
no,
Baka, please.
Baka,
please, I beg of thee.
I genuinely feel, I'm gonna say this from the bottom of my heart. Junker Queen is just better, especially with the buffs, but also with you having Banana Shake on the Reaper, having that shift, that commanding shout to go faster into it. Whereas Baka, all Baka has really is just his health that's gonna.
Forced.
Yeah,
I mean, look at how they could just abuse the hog to force his cooldowns. Like, I mean, okay, well, JLV Frog somehow dies there. That's crazy. A Thin though, holding so much space all by their lonesome, able to force out the immortality field and break it. Not JLV Frog. Zen Shapiro now coming close to this High Noon, gets a pick on Ataki, but Baka getting big value on the hog against my expectations, takes out a Thin, and now it seems a window of hope is opening for Royal Throne.
Yeah, am I gonna have to pull out the Shaq meme where I'm sorry, Baka, I wasn't
familiar with the game. Yeah, he's cooking. He's cooking.
Come on now, it's hog. It's fairly easy. It is easy to get picks. I'm gonna say that now, especially with the hook. But with Baka being able to provide a lot of pressure, I feel like just the amount of pressure that Baka's been able to hold, especially getting this with this
interesting
whole hog, but Adrenaline is just rotating all the way around.
Hockey. I feel Ataki, if he can get value out of this High Noon from the back of the point. Okay, there it is. Wait. Okay, never mind. That was Zen Shapiro's High Noon. Ataki didn't have his up yet. Baka with the whole hog though goes in, falls at the hands of a Thin, but not before getting mint out of the fight. Banana Shake now walking forward on this Reaper, trying to be the hero that this team needs. Shenshin's Transcendence is forced by the Primal Rage of Fuelmaker, but a Thin going wild on the Reaper, as they have done so fairly often in these fights. Ataki takes out JLV Frog, but goes down. Now, okay, Adrenaline has the point. They have 3 ults.
Yeah, they do have 3 ults. They do have to wait a little bit, especially trying to get JLV Frog back. But on the side of Royal Throne, they do have their own 3 ults as well. The only thing that I do gotta say is that they have both their DPS ults. Where on the side of Adrenaline, Zen Shapiro is only 50%, which again, it is a DPS ult, so they can get it very fast. But 50% is still fairly far away from having your own.
It's a decent distance, yeah. Okay, a Fen. That's a very big pick. That's a very, very big pick. That's the window. That's the immortality field gone. But Baka doesn't need it, apparently. Okay, the High Noon from Ataki as well getting 1. Mint and Zen Shapiro, though, roaming around the outer edges like a Noisia album, takes out Ataki, takes out Banana Shake, and somehow Adrenaline's still holding this point.
Yeah, Adrenaline able to hold it, getting to 84, almost 85%. Baka staying alive. Biscuit using the window but the beat comes out from the side of Adrenaline, just trying to dip.
Oh, what the heck? You cannot lose your Zen there.
You cannot, but Mint finds another one. Just being able to stay alive. Zen Shapiro is getting the window for his Noon, 3% away. Can Royal Throne even touch?
They can't touch. They can't touch. That's it.
That's it. Adrenaline wins 2-0. Which, honestly, that seemed like it was going to go rough, especially with how well Baka... I'm going to say this. Baka was playing well on the Hog, even though Hog, in my opinion, is a very bad character in this game, especially after his sort of mega nerf that happened a few seasons back. But it just looked like... it was going to go very far and very good. I feel like if Royal Throne just made one switch, it could have gone either way. But, again, Adrenaline wins your map 3-2. Just... honestly, a really good map.
Yeah, I mean that was that map had everything. That map had crazy swap. All we needed was a C9. But yeah, overall a really good match, and what a way to end it on. I mean, Baka swapping to the Hog got way more value than I think anyone would have expected.
Yeah,
I feel like that fight hung in the balance, though, but for Banana Shake's Death Blossom. That Blossom could have won Adrenaline, or could have won the fight for Royal Throne, but he just wasn't able to get it off in time, and I feel like that cost them so much.
Yeah, it really was. But of course, obviously with Tranquility, we need to give it MVP. Unfortunately, we can't technically give it to Ataki, even though I feel like he deserves it completely. So on the side of Adrenaline, who do you feel like gives the MVP? Because I feel like there's I feel like on the entire side of Adrenaline, it could go to any single player, but who do you have selecting from the side of Adrenaline getting MVP?
Okay, so here's my thing. It's between, for me, it's I think it's Zen Shapiro, JLV, or Mint.
Okay.
Maybe Athene, however you say it, with an outside chance, but just by virtue of the other three having played the full match, I think it's gotta be one of them.
Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna have to piggyback on you. It's as much as I love giving it to support players, being a support player myself, I'm gonna have to give it to Zen Shapiro. Even with Tiki being as dominant as they were, Zen Shapiro was putting it onto another level, especially when they were able to get all the resources to themselves. But again, that's 3-2 for the side of Adrenaline. Let's go over some other final maps that happened, especially during this time. Paradise lost 1-3-0 versus Trigonomic. Reminiscence is up 2-0 versus the Beat Drop Bears. Space Created 1-3-2 versus Maelstrom. Tempest lost 1-3 versus the Thunder Duckies, so the Thunder Duckies aren't concluding. And then, of course, today, Adrenaline 1-3-2 versus Royal Throne. Any final thoughts for you, Wistfall?
That was some very good Overwatch. That was very fun to watch. I feel like that match had everything, and I fully expect these playoff matches to only get even better, even tighter, even more clutch plays, even more crazy comps. I may not be casting, but I'll definitely be watching, and I am very excited to see how the rest of these playoffs, how the rest of this Discord playoff bracket and the Tranquility playoffs at large unfold.
Yeah, and of course, like I said before, like starting this off, this was only week 2 of the knockout bracket. Heading into next week, I believe next week is obviously week 3. But of course, obviously, there's going to be more games coming up again next week. You don't want to miss it, so you might as well stay tuned. Might as well drop a follow our Twitter, join our Discord, all that fun YouTuber stuff. But until then, we've been Tranquility, Ivan Karma. This has been Wistfall. Laggy's in the back doing OBS and running the show, basically, whereas we just sit here and talk Overwatch. But until next time, we'll see you
we're
later.
just the talking heads. Lag is
Yeah.